All right. Next up, it's time. It's time for Mr. Fine, for Brother Logas. Brother Logas to come through with our spiritual lesson of the day.
Peace, peace, family. Peace, Mystique. Peace, mysteriously impenetrable. Gonna get into the peace, truth, peace, trust no one. You're welcome. Peace, Fably. Peace, Soul Rocker. Peace, Sean. So we're going to the spiritual lesson of the day. If you got any questions, please, you can put them in the comments. And if you don't want anyone, you want to keep it anonymous, you can put it into the little comment box. And all questions sent through the love offerings will take precedent. Peace, peace. So today's spiritual lesson of the day is that in order to achieve your highest self, you must first get in alignment with your lower self. In order to do that, you must, in order to get in alignment with either the higher or the lower self, you must know who they are. Meaning you must know their names. Because if you have the self, which has a name, for me, it's Brother Logas, or my full name, or what I was born with, right? But then there is the lower self, which is really your shadow. Now your lower self, I think I said this before, your lower self technically is higher than your current self. It's still higher than you. It's just lower compared to the higher self version.
You never told us that one.
Well, apparently I never told you guys that. So that means I was talking to somebody else about that. So, for instance, if you go into the Greek mythology, you have the Zeus, who runs the heavens on Mount Olympus, and then you have Hades, who runs the underworld. Now, these are brothers, right? And they're both gods, so they are both high vibrational beings, right? They are both higher than regular humans, but one's considered the higher god, one's the lower god. One's in the heavens, one's in the underworld. So that's you, right? You have the heaven version of you, you have the underworld version of you. But in order to even get in contact, to get in vibration with the upper version of you, you must first understand the lower version of you. So for instance, my lower version would be Papa Legba, right? My lower God self. That's an easy way to think about it. My higher God self would be Tahuti. So we are in this existence. Well, those of us who are awake enough, we are in this existence trying to go to the next level, which is your higher self. But you need the support of your lower self or your lower God self. So you must first tap into that version to then rise up to your higher version. And then you need to know who these versions are. So the journey that you must go in, first you must go within, right? You must dig deep. Because you think about higher self, you think the heavens. Well, the heavens is essentially outside of you, right? And everything outside of you is a reflection of what's inside of you. Now that reflection is an inverse reflection when we're talking about the light world and the dark world. So just be mindful of that. It's an inverse reflection. It's like your eyes. Everything you see in the world, when it hits your eyes and it hits the back of the brain, it flips. It's upside down. It's inverted. Right? So in order to see your higher self, you must see your lower self. And when you see your lower self, it will then invert so that you can see your higher self. That's basically how it works. So understand that even when you find your God self, the question is, which God self is it? When it comes to like your personality and the stories, the experiences that you've been living, and your birthday and your name, all those things will typically tell you who your lower God self is in this particular time. And then from there, you're going to try to find, well, what's the higher God self? And the higher God self is going to be very, very relatable to the lower God self. It's going to be very like similar, right? It's like Hades and Zeus are very similar to each other. So that's why it's always inverted. Papa Legba and then Tahuti are very similar to each other. Papa Legba is the man of the story, man of stories, the story man, right? But he's on the physical plane, right? But then Tahuti is also the man of stories, the man of all knowledge and wisdom, right? But he's on a spiritual plane, so it's on a higher plane. So that's how you can see the inverted reflection of the two. So this is what it means. That's truly the shadow work, is knowing the lower God self, and that's truly your higher self, or reaching your highest vibration, which is becoming your higher God self. And that's the journey that we're all on. And hopefully that makes it more clear for you. I know it can be kind of confusing, but just sit with that, meditate on that, and try to navigate through the meditative world to see exactly what it is that I'm talking about. Hope that helps. So now we're going to move on to the question and answer round.